Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Kayla, and in this video we're going to be reacting to what nobody understands about Ken of SB19, following on from Pablo and Stel. And again, this is Casual Chuck. Thank you, Chuck, for your hard work for these videos. And yeah, let's get straight into it. The thumbnail said most loved, most hated, so I'm curious. Oh, there he is.
Sino ang pinaka-spoiled sa grupo?
Ito
Sino ang makakalimutan? Hindi mong patapos na, nagkamali pa siya. Bakit na lang Ken? Bakit si Ken? Bakit si Ken?
Please stop it.
The fanboy reactor.
Ken is, in my opinion, the most successful idol in P-pop history. Most fans see him as someone who's living the life most of us can only dream of. But in reality, there's a lot more going on behind all the glitz and glamour. So in today's video, we will reveal the challenges he had to go through just to get where he is today. From being a scrawny kid who only ate instant noodles on his birthdays to becoming the CEO of his own company. I know, Ken's story is like a definition of rags to riches. And the haters are not having it. He quickly became one of the most polarizing figures in the P-pop industry. But before we talk about all that, let's talk about his humble beginnings because it's straight up inspiring. It all started in Pagadian, Zamboanga del Sur. This is the countryside where Felipe John Suson was raised. His mom wanted to name him Kenji, but his grandpa Felipe insisted to name him Philip. He was the youngest member of a family that barely had anything financially. They were very poor that instead of a cake on his birthday, all he gets is a plate of instant noodles. Life was so hard that having fried chicken was heaven for him, so it quickly became his all-time favorite. Because of this, both of his parents had to go overseas to find better paying jobs to support the education of Ken and his older sister. He had to be taken under the care of his grandparents. He then grew up in a church and his grandpa was the pastor. He was just a scrawny kid who likes mathematics and discovered drawing as his first talent. So he went on to become an editorial cartoonist in school.
Wow.
Family gatherings in the Philippines always require a karaoke machine.
Yes.
And Ken's extended family wasn't a stranger to that. He used to hide during these occasions because he was always asked to sing. I was told by some sources that Ken had a very good singing voice as a kid but lost his confidence when puberty hit because it gave him an ultra deep voice which turned out to become one of his greatest assets in the future because of the dude named Pablo.
I never thought na may mga tao talaga makapag-appreciate ng voice ko. Kasi hindi ako ganoon ka confident sa voice ko kasi yung range ko mababa lang tapos malalim yung boses ko. Ngayon, parang naging na-appreciate ko na yung boses ko dahil may mga tao nakaka-appreciate na. Nice.
Anyway, his newfound love for music got him to learn his first musical instrument without anyone teaching him. So he ended up becoming a southpaw guitarist but later fixed it as he learned more. He was also active in sports, representing his school in regional tournaments. He played some table tennis and sepak takraw as a spiker. For those who don't know, this position requires exceptional skills to perform explosive jumps to block and spike the ball. The teacher saw this as a potential that can translate into good dancing, so he was offered to join the dance club for better grades. He was hesitant at first, but when he tried, you all know what happened next. Watching his early clips feels like he was born to dance. He was even hired by his school to choreograph some dance routines. He then moved to Cagayan de Oro to study architecture in college. He became a member of the dance crews called Excite, GA7, and Amigo 7.
Thing is, my school, I can't speak for every school here in Australia, but my high school, there was no do this curricular activity to get a better grade. It was just these are your classes, and then you had what were known as kind of like pleasure activities subjects. So we had dance, we had music, we had drama, wood and metal, so you built things out of wood and metal. We had digital art, art. Those were like extra activities, but it was just to kind of make up the school day. Really, it didn't really matter. Only like your English and your maths and your science, where you mattered, really. There was another subject. It's literally just 2 letters, but I can't remember what it was. IC, IU, IT, I don't know. There was another core, that's what we called it. Core, which was something, I don't even remember what it was. That's how much I cared about it. But yeah, we had your main subjects, which were the ones that mattered, and then these were kind of like pleasure things that you could just go do. There was still class, you still had to do what the teachers were saying, but yeah, they were the creative ones. That's it, the creative subjects. Because you were creating stuff when cooking, creating wood and metal, creating in digital art, in regular art, you were creating in dance, and creating in music, and creating dramas in drama. But yeah. But I tried to do dance in school, but my school was so underfunded that we didn't have a dance teacher, and we weren't allowed in there unsupervised. We didn't even have a teacher at all. So a lot of the times the dance classes weren't doing anything. We kind of were broken up into other subjects because we never had a dance teacher. But yeah, it's interesting that the curricular activities went towards their grade. My school wasn't like that. You went to school, you had to be there by 9. You were there till 3. And that was it. It was like these are your main subjects, which they mainly focused on maths and English. I always had maths and English. I was like, why do I need English class? I speak English. But yeah, so it's interesting that other places had them and they actually went towards their grade. Ours didn't. They weren't that big of a deal. They weren't as important as the others. But my schooling experience, just as an individual, was different from everyone else. So
His last 2 crews were so good. In fact, Ken had a crewmate named Joshua who went on to become a member of a successful international idol group in the future called Z-Boys. They were beating everybody in the countryside, so there was no point in competing there anymore. It was time for the big leagues. They got invited to join major K-pop dance competitions, and this was the first time when Ken met other SB19 would-be members. Not as brothers, but as enemies. In one particular contest, Josh and Stel's crew defeated Ken's because they already had a GOAT status in the industry at the time. Ken accepted defeat gracefully and even asked to be trained by Josh, which actually surprised him because he thought Ken was a show-off.
Kinausap niya po ako eh. Sabi niya sa akin, Idol Josh, gano'n po tawag niya sa akin yun, Idol Josh. Pasali naman ako sa ano nyo, patraining naman ako sa grupo nyo, kahit sa gilid lang ako.
But because of their distance, the training together never happened. Ken then went home to continue his studies. Fast forward to 2017, he received a message from Josh. It was an invite to audition for the 5th member spot of SB19. But there's one problem. Ken had no money, so Josh was like, no problem, I'll take care of it. Ken then told his grandma about stopping school to pursue it, and she was very hesitant because she thought it was a scam and his parents overseas would have automatically said no. But Ken was so close to his grandma that he managed to convince her to go in secret. So our country boy took off to pursue his dreams. He had nothing with him except his phone, his clothes, and a 1,500 peso pocket money. This time when he arrived at the airport, there was no crew. It was all him. So imagine how that must have felt. Anyway, he took a taxi to SBT talent camp, and of course, the driver scammed him. He had to pay 600 pesos for a supposedly 150 peso trip. What a ripoff. Anyway, he finally met Josh and the boys and started training with them for a year while crashing into a distant relative's house to rest up. He slept on the floor, not with a comforter, but a banig. Because if he didn't, he would be homeless. Ken had no salary when he was still training, so he moonlighted as a small-time model to survive, which is an experience that would play a big role in his future. The dude was literally fighting for his dreams every single day. So here comes 2018 when they finally debuted, and though it was a rocky start, they gradually progressed to become the greatest P-pop group God has ever created. If you want to know more about their story as a group, check out the SB19 story series I made, linked down in the description. You can also join the highest tier of our channel's membership if you're interested to be credited as one of the executive producers. So how did Ken become the most polarizing P-pop idol? Like, how is he either obsessively loved by fans or obsessively hated by bashers? Well, he has this persona.
Pretty simple. They're jealous. Fans admire his creativity and his artistry, and bashers are jealous. They're jealous. Or up themselves.
Persona of a badass dude who doesn't give a shit. And if you combine that with one of the many accusations thrown at him, then they got themselves a new P-pop villain in the making. But there's one thing in common between all those issues. They lack evidence. There are a few exceptions though, but you can't say a person is arrogant just because he looks cool and badass. The dude is even a softie. He tends to cry in interviews and emotional moments. His awkwardness as a kid is still...
Thing is though, people like to... What they're seeing in front of them is confidence, and they're confusing it with arrogance. Confidence and arrogance are two separate, different things. You can be confident and not be arrogant. People like really do get confused thinking that being confident means you're arrogant. No, they are two separate things altogether. Like, arrogance, pardon the language, you're being an asshole. Confidence is you just believe in yourself and your abilities and what you want to do. You have self-belief. And people like to label someone arrogant because they won't take their criticism. Like, because they didn't get the reaction they wanted from the person that they were talking down to. Instead of them breaking down like, oh, no, no, no. And they just went, well, that's your opinion, but I know it's not true. Because they know themselves. That's confidence. And that's when those people going, they're so arrogant. No, they're just confident. There's a difference. Maybe these people need to educate themselves and learn the difference between confidence and arrogance.
There, and this TikTok clip says it all.
Me and you and you.
I've seen this.
Just us and your friend Steve. Do 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 Steve. Do 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 Steve. Do 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 Steve. 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 Do 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 Steve.
Also, you can't just call a person lazy just because you've seen a few clips of him sleeping. I mean, isn't it a result of him working too hard? Being an idol and running your own clothing company at the same time is no joke. The dude only used to draw this aspiration, but now he made it happen. He managed to build a company that sold out merch in just minutes. It's
And it's
insane.
still all gone.
It's even rumored that his company is now worth more than $1 million. Whether it's true or not, it put an even bigger target on his back. And haters started coming up with even more ridiculous claims, like accusing him of copying 2 K-pop music videos just because they have a similar vibe. This was easily debunked though. If you want to check it out, I made a video about it, link down in the description.
Jesus.
His main dancer position got also heavily criticized because of one single clip of him messing up on live TV. It wasn't
Seriously?
fair in my opinion because Ken has always been consistent in his dance performances, yet the haters suddenly forgot about how good he really is. Ken
They didn't forget. They just found something. Because he'd been dancing and hitting those marks and sharp, smooth moves, and then finally they're like, there, we've got it. He's no main dancer. How can a main dancer forget the steps? Because he's human. Now he's being arrogant. Stupid people.
never fired back. Or did he?
Hades on the way. Nagtatago kapag sa likod ng dami ang kampapre. Huwag na mahiya, yeah. Bas ka na sa lunggo, yeah. Patingin naman na sa pagbaba ng nanghihilip pababa, yeah.
So why does the poultry still exist and are still growing in numbers after all the bashing? Well, it's because he doesn't only have the alluring personality, but he also has the capability to back it up. Scratch that. Capabilities. What's crazy about Ken is that he has already shown us enough talent like his exceptional dancing and singing that is enough to fulfill a main vocal role.
Saan darating mga salita na nanggagaling sa aming dalawa? Kung lumisan ka,
Such a good voice.
ika'y bumabit na, di magkawala. Aking sinta, ikaw lang dahanan ay mundo.
Yet he still has a lot of secrets. I'm telling you, man, this guy is a living anime character.
Right?
Have you heard of an idol who is also a CEO? A dancer who is known for his aerial flips but never tells us that he can also breakdance. A singer who writes and co-produces his own songs. A musician that plays guitar, keyboard,
Heads up there,
drums, and can even beatbox. A fashion influencer. A man who plays sports like basketball, billiards, volleyball, badminton, table tennis, boxing, and sepak takraw with decent proficiency. A skater boy, an artist, a philanthropist, and most especially, a man of faith. I initially thought that the Superior Sound brand was all about him, but I was quickly proven wrong when I found this Bible verse underneath his Bulan CD, Hebrews 1:5-14. The entire passage is lengthy, but it all boils down to Christ being the superior of all beings. I mean, all of us have different religions, some don't even have one, but I just respect people like him who stand firm behind their beliefs. As of today, Ken has established himself as an arguably the most successful P-pop idol and the richest among his co-members. And it's just the beginning. They're still on their way to introducing Filipino music to the world through the US as of the making of this video. And his group SB19 is the first one to ever do it. So what have we learned about Ken's story? For me, it was his persistence and willingness to take risks. Have you ever noticed that sometimes it's your loved ones that said no to your aspirations? Because, they care about you. They don't want you to fail and all that. Do you know how many people have had visions, ideas, and huge career moves that they were about to do, but they allowed the word no to stop them? For all I know, you might be one of those people. The
Yep.
difference with Ken is that he never gave the power to the word no. It was his own grandma who tried to stop him, but he continued. Yes, haters exist, but he didn't reject his own ideas just because they rejected his ideas. Haters hate because they feel small when your ideas start turning into reality. He once said in an interview that success is the best revenge, so he stopped killing them with kindness. To this day, Ken has been torturing them with success.
Yes, he has. Yep. That's absolutely right. Even now. In 2024. I don't get why people go in on him like they do. He ain't hurting no one. Or do you think maybe, it's just a thought, I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong. But the reason he has so many bashes within the Philippines, I can't speak for international bashes because Western people are just nasty for the sake of it. But for the Philippines, maybe, I hope I'm wrong here, I really, really do, is because he's Messiah and they believe that someone from the province shouldn't be as successful as Ken is. I really hope I'm wrong. Because I guess the others have their bashes as well. We know that if you've been following along. So it's still happening recently. But maybe, because it's the only reason I can think of, because he's never been disrespectful to anyone. He's never belittled anyone. So it doesn't make any sense. Or it might just fall into that category of they hate him just because. Then there's the thing. You shouldn't worry about people talking crap online. Because people hate just because. They don't need a reason. It doesn't have to be, oh, they're better looking than me. Or they're more successful than me. They, got more money than me. They live in a nicer house than me. They wear nicer clothes than me. They eat better food than me. It doesn't always have to be the jealousy or the envy. Seven Sin shout out. It literally can just be that they have a shitty attitude and a shitty personality, and they ain't willing to change it. Because you'd be surprised how many people in this world are leaves. Like on a tree. They're just there to give shade every now and then. There's no purpose of a leaf. They break, they're unstable, they're over the side. They're a leaf. Because all they do is give shade. So, and I think that's the thing with Ken, is he's very aware of that. Of course he's human, but he knows people can just hate him just because. They don't need a reason. Everyone gets stuck on, why do you hate on him so much? Why do you hate on the members so much? You're like, there has to be a reason. No. Maybe that is the reason. That person just sucks. That they get a kick out of belittling someone else. It's a power thing. It makes them feel powerful, makes them feel important. They hate just because, they bully just because they get a kick out of it. That's the reason. And it's pathetic. It is so pathetic. Now, of course, you've got the groups of people that bully because they're hurting. And that was the thing I had. In grade 6, I had a bully. He bullied me all the time. I would walk on eggshells around school, like kind of like poke my head around every single corner just to make sure he wasn't there before I walked around it. I had bullies everywhere. I never had just one or two. I had groups that were mainly guys. So it was always, you're fat, you're ugly, you're this, you're that. But the thing is, I'm tough. Sometimes it would bother me, but I cared a lot less because of the blessing that I was born into, the family that I was born into. That, yeah, to everyone else it might be considered bullying, but my family were preparing me for the real world. I have 2 older brothers who bullied me relentlessly to this day. So it's literally like water off a duck's back to me when people say things to me. It's just like, whatever. Get off me, shoo fly. Don't bother me. Go away. And it was the same in high school. If I had an issue, yeah, you best believe I took it to my older brother, who was 6 foot something and had a respect of a lot of people, and they didn't realize I was his sister until he'd walk up and get down, because he was always taller than everyone. And he would literally look down like, what you picking on my sister for? And they'd kind of look, is that your sister? So, yeah, I had one guy in grade 6. He bullied me relentlessly. Like, he would always say things. And this particular day, he started throwing rocks at me. And, like, these small, tiny gravel type rocks. And obviously that's a safety thing. So it was him and a bunch of his friends were doing it to me and some of the people that were my friends at the time. And everyone got in trouble because I decided that was the day I'd had enough. I wasn't going to go running to my brother anymore, and I was going to handle it myself. So I picked up a rock and I started to throw it back. Not the right thing to do. Be the bigger person, walk away. That's the right thing to do in that situation. But I got in trouble for throwing rocks. But so did everyone else who was throwing rocks. And we got in school suspensions. So that we didn't miss out on school, we were just taken out of our everyday class, and we weren't allowed recess or lunch breaks. We weren't allowed to go out and play because it was an in-school suspension. And because there was such a large group of kids that got in school suspensions, we were separated into the younger grades. And he was in the class next door to mine. But the teacher that was in the class that I was put into for my in-school suspension had a family emergency and had to leave. So she had to split up her class. And I ended up having to sit near him, yippee, and do my in-school suspension in the class next door with the one person I didn't want to be near. And me and him, we barely looked at each other, we barely said anything to each other. Like when I first got in there, we weren't saying anything to each other. We weren't looking at each other. I was just in my head like, I can't believe I am stuck at a desk with this fool. And all of a sudden, he was doing his schoolwork, because we all got this big pile of schoolwork we all had to complete by the end of our in-school suspensions. And he was doing his, and he made a mistake. And he looked up and he said my name, and I was like, if he says one thing, I'm going to literally jump over this desk. Because I'd really reached my breaking point at that time. And he just went, do you have an eraser? Which, you're probably going to laugh at this, an Australian word. We don't call them erasers. We call them rubbers. Because you rub it. You rub things out. Yes, I have been very aware through, as I got older, that not everyone, nowhere else calls them that, but, and it's funny to them, but yeah, an eraser is a rubber, because you rub it out. But yeah, so he asked me for a rubber, and so my little eraser, I lent it to him, and he said thank you, and he gave it back. And then from being in there a couple of days, because the teacher had a family emergency, so she didn't come back to school for a couple of days, he started to talk to me respectfully, nicely. He never said anything mean to me. And the next thing I knew, we were laughing. We were joking with each other. And then he actually turned around and said, you're not actually that bad of a person. No shit, Sherlock. You're just following your friends. I never did anything to you. You were just picking on me because the rest were picking on me. And because I loved playing soccer, I used to go down and play all the time, which unfortunately, so did my bullies. And he was one of the people who also liked to play soccer. And I always got put in goalie, because I was good at it. And, because I was good at it. And after the conversation one day, because I always made sure that I didn't walk down with him to the field, because I didn't want him to then be bullied going, are you friends with her now? So I always made sure to walk separate from him. But then when they were choosing people who goes on what team, I always got chose last. I was very used to it, and I honestly never cared. But out of nowhere, he's gotten picked, and he's just gone, pick Kayla, she's great at goal. There is still so many more people. And for the first time ever, I didn't get chose last. I was like, you're going to be nice to me in front of people now? It was just something I wasn't used to. So it can depend with bullies. Some are just followers. You know, they don't actually hate a person. They're just doing it because everyone else is doing it. Then you've got just the people who are just sad. They've got nothing better to do. Oh, let me go online and talk shit to someone for shits and giggles. Like, why not? So it just depends. But Ken does it time and time again, whether he's part of SB19 or he's off being Philippe, whatever. He just focuses on his stuff. What does he have to get done? And hangs around the people that want to see him succeed, that light up when he walks in a room. You know, he's always striving, you know. The top of one mountain is the bottom of the next. So you keep climbing. So that's kind of the mentality I get from Ken, Philip, and the other SB19 members, is especially with their song Go Up, that's all they're doing, you know. So the bottom of one mountain the top of one mountain is the bottom of the next, so keep climbing. He's already come such a very long way since this video, you know, so he really is himself. He isn't trying to be anyone else. You're not put on this earth to be someone else. You're on this earth to be you. Because no one can be you like you. You weren't put here to follow other people. So, you can admire other people. You can be inspired by other people. And these haters could be inspired by him, but because he's such a good person and because he never says anything, they're like, perfect target. That's why Ken and the other members get targeted as much as they do. The same with some other artists and actors and YouTubers and reality TV stars and models, because they never clap back. And some are in situations where they can't clap back. But as long as you stay authentic to yourself, then everyone else that's trying to bring you down in whichever way don't matter. They don't. People's opinions of you are none of your business. Your business is whatever's going on in your life, with your household. How do you keep your household running? How do you continue to evolve and learn and provide for not just yourself, but if you're the provider of your household, how do you continue to do that successfully? You know, so yeah, it's just, I don't get why people hate on other people. Like, if you put the same amount of energy into your own life and your own development, whether it be personal development, career development, whatever it is, if you put all that energy that you used to hate on people into those things, you'd be way more successful. You probably would be where you want to be, or at least closer to whichever profession it is you wanted to do. Whether you wanted to be a scientist, whether you want to be an astronaut or a fireman or firewoman. Whatever you wanted to do, if you put all that energy into that, that's where all your energy goes. You'd probably be a lot closer or achieving what you want to do with your life and where you saw yourself going. If you can see it for yourself, it can be. SB19 have proved it. They manifest things and it turns into reality. But yeah, I'm so proud of Ken. I'm so glad that he doesn't feed into the hate, you know. But when you are as successful as Ken and the SB19 members, you're going to get hate. That's why it's so important to have such a strong team behind you, you know. Making it very clear that what these people are saying do not matter. Please do not listen to it. You are loved. You are a valued member of the team. You know, come and talk to us if you ever need us. Be that shoulder to cry on. You know, because sometimes people don't need you to fix it. They don't want you to fix it. They just want to vent. They just want to cry. And sometimes the best thing you can do is just sit there and hold them while they do that. So, I'm glad that Ken does have that behind him with his members and the team at 1Z and his family and even the other members' families. So he's got that. Same with all the other members of the group as well. So I am very happy that he's got that, and he might not say anything in the moment either. He just might go drop your name in a song on an album or something. Because he gets hate everywhere. I think I was watching him play PUBG. I think it was on TikTok. He was doing it. It was either TikTok or Facebook. I can't remember. But I didn't understand at the moment. Obviously, I can't speak the language. But it was after watching someone, I think Herrera was watching it maybe. No, she wasn't. No. It was just someone had subbed it. So I was like, oh, now I can actually know what he was saying. And yeah, someone had said something to him in PUBG. So it's like, seriously, grow up. You don't like him, but you're deliberately seeking him out to talk shit. I don't get it. But that's just me. I won't ever get it because I don't do it. I don't do it. So I'll never understand these people. And I don't have the energy for them either. I'm just like, oh, bye. Like, bye, you sad, go away from me. And I don't mean like sad as in like, I'm sad. I mean like sad as in pathetic. Grow up. Grow up. Anyway, I'm done venting. Sorry. Yet again I vented and rambled, and I do this from time to time, guys. I'm so sorry. Yeah, again, thank you so much, Chuck, for the effort that you put in to make this video. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!